Okay, so what we're going to talk about now is kind of taking some first steps towards exposure therapy. And remember, exposure therapy is this idea that we're going to sort of sit with some of these anxiety-provoking thoughts or experiences, oh, big sigh, coming out of the mouth, right? And we're going to sit with it, and we're not going to do much else than that. And we're going to allow our bodies to naturally habituate to the anxiety and to the discomfort that comes from that, while also learning that that kind of feared thought probably isn't going to happen.
Okay.
So we've done a little bit of this work. We're going to think about, this uncertainty that I know is really difficult for you with your anxiety, and this thought that, uncertainty is just unbearable. And if I have to kind of tolerate uncertainty, I'll fall apart. So that's what we're going to kind of experiment with and work to expose you to, okay?
Right. Yeah.
And remember, you'll always be in control, and we're going to do this in a way that is measured and organized. You're not going to be surprised by anything, so that you're very much in control, but it is going to be a challenge. You're going to be kind of pushed to face these things,
Right.
okay? And the first step that we need to do to get this kind of organization going is to actually make a list, a hierarchy or a ladder of things that we are that cause us anxiety around that thought of uncertainty, and I can't bear it and I'll fall apart if I have to encounter uncertainty, okay?
Okay.
So if you can kind of think about those things in your life related to uncertainty that are very difficult for you, I'll just kind of prompt you a bit. Think about your kids, think about kind of what you do going out and things like that to sort of help you with uncertainty.
Right.
Those will be the kinds of things. And we're going to put a rating on each one from about 30 to 40% anxiety, right up to kind of 100% plus.
Right.
And we don't want to do anything lower than 30 because then it's not going to be all that useful, right?
Right.
20% anxiety is like, well, I could probably cope.
Yeah.
But we're going to look for something 30 or up. So I don't know where you want to start. Do you want to start with that 100% plus and work down? Do you want to start at the bottom, or is there a thought even popping to mind that we could sort of put somewhere? What would you like to do here?
I guess starting lower might.
Yep. Okay.
I guess be easier. So I know some of the things that kind of we talked about that the uncertainty is hard for me is like when I'm at work and I know I've left my car in that parking lot.
Okay.
It's so far from
Right.
the building, so I tend to use my lunch break to go and make sure that the car's there, nobody's broken in and taken anything.
Okay. So if you could imagine not going out at lunch to check on your car, but just sort of sitting. Okay, see your body tense up a little bit.
Yeah.
That's sort of a good sign for me. I know it's not easy for you, but that's a good sign that we're kind of on the right track.
Okay.
But if you could imagine doing, like, not going out to the parking lot to check on your car at lunchtime, how much anxiety would that cause you, do you think?
Probably, around that, like 30, 40.
30 to 40. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's start with that. That's kind of a perfect place to start. So 30 to 40% anxiety, not checking on car. Okay. At lunchtime. All right. Okay, what would be next? Or what would be something else that comes to mind? It doesn't have to be next.
Oh, well, we had that one session about I have to look at the menu before I go out.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah. And you don't go to restaurants unless their menus are online.
That's right. Yeah, I have to look
Check it out.
so that I'm prepared to know what to order and can prepare any type of questions the waitress is going to ask.
Right. Kind of prepare for it, get kind of certain.
Yeah.
So remember, when we're doing these exposures, we have kind of different options available to us.
Right.
So one would be to imagine kind of going to a restaurant, and we could get really clear about what that image looks like. Imagine going to a restaurant and not looking at the menu and just kind of going in there cold. What do you think imagining that scenario would be like for you?
That's a little higher than this.
Okay.
That's probably around maybe like a 45, 50.
Okay. All right. So not a whole lot higher than this one, but a little bit. So imagining not checking, or imagining going out. I'm just going to say going out cold.
Yeah.
For lack of it. Sounds like you're passing out, but that's not fair. Like going out to a restaurant cold, just for the interest of time. What about actually doing that? What do you think it would be like for you to actually choose a restaurant? Today's Friday, going out tonight, just, all right, I'm going to go there and just going without looking, without preparing.
That's probably like a 70.
That's a 70. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to leave a space because we'll need something in the middle here.
Okay.
But 70% would be going out to eat. Actually going out to eat without preparing.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So we've got a couple of things that are a little lower. We need something a little bit more mid-range here. What do you think that might be, Kate?
Well, you know, a lot of the times I kind of struggle with like what's going on with the kids throughout the day.
Yeah.
So there's you can like go online and look at the cameras at the daycare.
At the daycare, that's right.
So I do that pretty frequently.
Okay. How
Yeah.
frequently would you do that?
Usually twice a day.
Okay. Okay.
Sometimes 30.
So, okay, 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
So we've got some options there,
Right.
right? We could either do it where we kind of, we could imagine, again, not checking.
Right.
If you kind of think about that, what does that do for our hierarchy here? Let me give you the options.
Okay.
So you could imagine not checking,
Mm-hmm.
or we could start playing with, only checking twice, only checking once, like for real in life. That's
Right.
called in vivo, right?
Okay.
Actually doing it.
Right.
So it could be kind of chipping away at that 1,
Right.
2, 3 to the point where you're not checking on them at all.
Right.
What do you think?
I think imagining not checking would be like you said, that lower, like the 20. So
Down here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So
So,
I-
that's off. Okay.
yeah. So, but the actually not checking
Okay.
would be a bit higher.
Okay. Could you help me kind of
Okay.
understand how? In here?
So for me, checking after their naps
Checking after.
is
Really.
really important because I just, the SID stuff
Yeah.
kind of in the back of my
Oh, I
head,
see.
so I like to make sure that they've gotten up from their nap and they're okay.
Right.
So not checking after that nap to me is feels like an 80, 90.
That'd be up here.
Yeah.
Okay. So could I put that up here?
Yeah.
8% to 90%. Not checking after nap.
After nap. And then like the other 1 or 2 times a day could fill that space there. Maybe reducing the morning checking.
Okay. So could we say not checking in the morning?
Yeah.
But still checking after nap? That would be this one.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because then I have to go all the way until
Sure.
so
Okay.
that uncertainty from when I drop them off until after
Right.
nap.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So just to recap, we've got these kind of 2 lower ones. They're almost the same, but we could see about that. So not checking on your car at lunch, actually not checking. That'd be an in vivo exposure.
Mm-hmm.
An imaginal exposure would be imagining. I said going out cold, right? But
Yeah.
going out to eat.
Yes. Without
In the cold, no.
without checking.
Without prepping, right?
Right. Okay.
Okay. Okay. And then we have this one here. You're not checking in the morning on the kids. I'm going to just get clear because I'm going to write these down.
Okay.
But still checking after their nap.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're actually going to go out without preparing.
Yeah.
Instead of just imagining it. This is an in vivo, imaginal in vivo. And then this would be not checking at all after nap.
Mm-hmm.
That's an in vivo one.
Mhm.
Okay.
So then this one, would that mean I haven't checked all day?
This would mean you wouldn't check all day.
Okay. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
up at the top.
Yeah, as I say that,
Yeah,
what kind of comes
yeah.
up for you?
That'd be
Okay.
tough.
Yeah, okay. Anything that you can imagine giving you 100%, right off the charts?
Yeah, something probably the days where I go out after work and the kids are with like my in-laws or something, and just having no contact, like not knowing
Sure.
how they're doing until I get home,
Sure.
and having that would be off the chart, like
Okay.
going the entire day, because then that'll be like after I get home, it'd be like they've been to bed. So.
Okay. All right. So let's play with that a little bit, and this is sort of where the technical stuff comes. So these are types of things that we need to be able to kind of sit with in a kind of contained period of
Okay.
time, right?
Mhm.
So when we do these exposures, what we often see is that a person's anxiety will spike and then come back down just naturally over about 20 to 25 minutes, sometimes 30.
Okay.
So doing, I think all of these would kind of fit that criterion. Doing that with your kids all day long would be tough because that would be a whole day where you're kind of just sitting with that anxiety. So I wonder if we could do a couple things with that.
Okay.
One would be that you just imagine it
Yeah.
as a first step.
Okay.
Another one would be, I'm kind of hearing playing in the background of that, this thought, this kind of the ultimate thought of, something could go wrong.
Yeah, something's happened to the kids.
Something's happened, something could go wrong, right?
Yeah.
And so, it doesn't sound like much, but actually sitting with that thought and almost repeating it to ourselves and kind of heightening our awareness of that, something could go wrong. I don't know what's happening with the kids right now. Something good, something bad, I just don't know.
Right.
Sometimes that can be a really powerful exposure in and of itself, just to that thought.
Yeah.
Do you think that would get you 100%,
Yeah.
especially if we focus it on the kids?
Yeah, especially if it's something, the possibility that something's happened to the kids. Something
Right.
bad's happened.
Okay, and my marker's dying here, but if we say sitting with the thought of something bad could be happening,
Mm-hmm.
is really going to kind of get you
Yeah.
up there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so it looks like we've got our hierarchy
I
set
think
up.
so.
Yeah, so our first steps will be to take a look at this first rung, and then we'll very systematically, all within your control, work at chipping away at this.
All right.
Okay,
Okay.
good.